Good afternoon, and welcome to this special edition of the Bumper Show on ELBC Radio 99.9 and other frequencies across the country. Well, my name is Vafli Kamara, and I am here sitting for Mr. Azired, who's unable to be here. But this afternoon, my guest is the national chairman of the Liberia People Democratic Party, a constituent party of the ruling Coalition for Democratic Change. Mr. Diwane will be my guest on this special Thursday edition of the Bumper Show. So wherever you are listening, we'd like to say good afternoon and welcome to the Bumper Show on ELBC Radio. Well, same radio, different program, different voice. But it's good to be back on your radio on the Bumper Show this afternoon. Like I said, I'm here for Azigred, and I will be speaking with, very briefly, Mr. Diwane, the national chairman of the Liberia People Democratic Party, a constituent party of the ruling Coalition for Democratic Change. We're going to be talking all things politics, ranging from the party itself, the ongoing campaign activities as well. We're speaking at a time, a day after His Excellency Dr. George Manneh Weah delivered that special message at the 78th session of the United Nations General Assembly. A couple of things and commitments were made, including free, fair, transparent elections, and it was a profound message that delivered at the World Body by His Excellency. But like I said, this afternoon I have with me my guest, the chairman of the Liberia People Democratic Party, the LPDP for short. Mr. Ne, good afternoon. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Vavli. It is a pleasure being on the Bumper Show.
Okay.
And I'd like to say that this is a unique show. Very respectable, and the presentations have been fantastic, have been very, very much rewarding to the people in this country. And I'm happy to be here on the Bumper Show for the first time.
Thank you very much. We appreciate. Has the LPDP?
LPDP is a constituent party of the CDC, the coalition, and we have been working within the spirit of the coalition.
Okay.
We have been enjoying mutual cooperation, and I can say that LPDP relationship with the party, with the coalition, is in the right direction, and we are doing everything possible because we have a target. And that target is we have a way of throwing it one round.
We'll delve into it, but we can go any further without knowing who's the national chairman of this great emerging party is. So who are you? Who is Mr. Ne?
Well, most often I don't like talking much about myself. I am a Liberian citizen, and I hail from Maryland County.
Okay.
I was born in Playville, went to school in Playville, came up to the Moravia, went to school, and I have been much more engaged, in the journalism, public relations activities.
Oh, you have a background in journalism?
Of course. I kicked off through the kind tutelage of Lami Warite. Lami Warite provided so much, encouragement to me.
Okay.
During the 70s. And I found myself taking over a great responsibility a column, issues of the time by Aberport. He would give me, the opportunity to write on the issues of the time, and to write on the issues of the time, with Port, the late Aberport being the icon, it was not an easy one.
Okay.
You had to be up to standard. And he kind of groomed me, and I was so impressed, especially those days. LBC, we used to go ELBC. ELBC was producing great admiring journalists, and I saw that Haji Krumah. I admire him. I saw that Mill Greaves. I admire him. I saw Jonathan Raffle. I saw Riade Koba, Olivia Shannon. I admire all. And I said, they built the kind of inspiration. And I said to me, then on the international scene, I said, I would like to be like Peter Pan. You understand? Peter Inahoro. And I used to read the African magazine, the West Africa.
Yeah.
I used to read it so much, And Peter Inahoro, his style of writing. And as a young man, I started just writing,
Okay.
And so that got me deeply involved.
Okay.
And then I became, when I got in after New Liberia, I worked, for the Mirror newspaper, which was headed by the late Davis, the head of Lena, and we worked together. I did a lot of reporting before going up to Public Works as public relations officer.
So you have a deep history and background in journalism, and now you are a political frontliner.
Yeah, I drew.
What a great transition.
Yeah, I drew my inspiration also from my father.
Okay.
My father was a politician, and he was the first native senator from Maryland County, from the Tubman administration all the way up to the Talbot administration. And I got involved. I said, look, I have to be, maybe I was just, inspired, especially when the progressive politics came about. It provided an atmosphere for me to look at politics from different sides, not from one side. And we went through all that. And today, here I am. I went from one level to another, being one of the founder, of the youth wing of the NDPL, and the first chairman for the NDPL youth wing, one of the founding chairpersons of the youth wing. And so I serve in those positions, and so.
Yeah, and one of the reasons why we brought you here, because you have a deeper understanding about the politics of the country and the politics of the day. Now, your party, the party that you serve as the national chairman, the LPDP, the Liberia People Democratic Party, is part of this coalition, the CDC, and we are in the middle of a serious campaign leading to the October 10 elections. Tell us what's your reading and what's happening from the angle of the LPDP to ensure that the political leader of the CDC, the coalition, President George Weah, is re-elected. What are the activities?
Thank you very much. The LPDP is very much involved. In fact, we believe that we ought to be making our contribution as a political party, instead of just relying, on the presidential visits. Because after the presidential visits, to districts, what happened? The political parties should take charge.
Okay.
Go into the districts, doing foot soldering, and making sure that the manifesto, the plans, the agenda for 2020, for 2020, the 2024 after the elections.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
understand?
Inauguration.
Yeah, after inauguration is carried out. So what we are doing is we are reviewing our activities in those different, those districts. We are recounting what we have what we have done, and what we intend, to do, and we are also carrying out voters' education, because most of the time the people can be inspired, but if they don't know how to vote, it becomes a problem.
Mhm.
So we believe going house to house, talking to the people, will, provide the atmosphere, for what we want out of this entire campaign. And so LPDP is on working in coordination and cooperation with the National Campaign Committee, going up to the districts. For house to house, we began with district number 10, and by Saturday,
Mm.
day after tomorrow, you are invited, please.
Okay.
We will be in district number 12,
Monserrato.
Monserrato County. And after district number 12, we may be going up to district number 13. And we hope to do at least 2 districts, in a day's time, because we have some key counties that we also have to make our presence known. And so we're going to do everything possible.
Is it an
to make sure.
initiative done by LPDB on its own, or you have the backing of the other constituent parties?
Oh, well, you see, we are a united party.
Mm.
We are a unit. But within a unit, you have each political party. And each of the political parties, by this time should be, making its own contribution. And so we are endeavoring, doing everything we possibly everything possibly that we can do, to make sure we make an impact. As we said, and we continue to say it, in the joining with the president to gain a second term of office, we will not flinch, we will not swerve, we will not bend, we will not falter, we will not flag. In every area, we are going to go along with the president. Whether in adversity, we will stand by him.
Whether in adversity. That's striking to me.
Whether in adversity, we want to go with, because the philosophy is one that we believe in. His presidency has changed a lot of things in Liberia. The mentality of the people, the kind of conservatism that surrounded, the presidency, all of those things, have changed. The presidency over the period, no wonder why our people used to say, leave the people thing. Leave the people thing. Because the presidency was just for elites. It was for the aristocrats. It was not for, the ordinary citizen. Whether you grew, whether you are educated, but there was a special class. And today we are still contending with the class. And the class that we are contending with, is the Unity Party.
Do they have a class system?
Oh, the Unity Party is a party that is grounded, in class.
Why you say that?
Class politics.
How well do you know them?
Let me tell you something.
How well do you know them?
I know them because I interacted with the Unity Party from 1984 up, up to the war. I was the founder youth chairman of the NDPL. And the style of Unity Party, firstly, they don't embrace those they call ordinary people. And it can be attested to. If you look at the 12 years rule, of Unity Party, there were a lot of areas, in this country, communities that in the country, populated by ordinary people, that the Unity Party didn't even have time for. Because they derived their strategy because from, the old order. The old order was only concerned about Prince Avenues, St. Carl, all the places. They were concerned about it. If you talk about housing estates, it was Morovia. Whatever they thought about. So the development, was largely sectional. And therefore we refer to them as sectional developers. Okay. But now,
so are you saying this election is not only about the re-election of President Weah, but also to keep that class system down?
They want. I ask a question. What did the Unity Party forget to do in 12 years that they want to come to do? What did they forget? They had 12 years. What did they forget? They talk about rescuing. They had 12 years to rescue. They didn't rescue the people of Dole community from that slum. When rain fell, they will walk in the water, put their clothes in the plastic bag, and get to a safer place before they wear the clothes. They did not think about the people in Chubok. They had to contend with the muddy road and the dusty road. They didn't think about them. They didn't think about the people in Keyhole community that vehicles could not go. They didn't think about them. They called themselves rescuers, but there was a time in the 12 years that they had the opportunity to rescue the people, of those communities. When fire disaster or natural disaster take place, what did they do? They would only take few items, relief items, little buy bags of rice, and carry few duka flare, clothes.
So what has been the difference over the last 5 years?
The difference. 6 years? Now I tell you the difference. How are you going to say you're going to rescue the people in those communities? Look at the kind of development there, lights, everything there, road pave. How will you say you want to go and rescue the people of Chubok? Go all in Chubok community, the places that pave.
When you say that, it means there is nothing absolutely is wrong right now.
I'm telling you,
you're trying to say there is no challenge.
I'm not saying that this administration don't have a challenge, but technically, President George Manneh Weah took only 3 years. I'm saying technically. And you may ask me why I say technically. We had 3 years of coronavirus. The entire world, global economy was locked down. We were fighting the coronavirus. The president had to concentrate. And in Africa and in most parts of the world, Liberia fight against, the coronavirus is high on the table. Liberia,
obviously, it's acknowledged by the WHO.
Yes. The skills he put into it, the difference between George Manneh Weah and the rest of them, he didn't come to the presidency because he wanted to become president. He didn't come to the presidency because he wanted to be marked, as one of the presidents. He didn't come to the presidency because of his ego. He came to the presidency, which makes the difference, with passion and compassion, passion for development, compassion for the people of this country. Now, let me let you know some things that happened.
Go ahead.
When the Unity Party took over, they did not have regard for civil servants, people in the civil service. They were working to have people to feed. They were only concentrated, on the fact that those people were opposition. Those people, came from sectors, in a different background that they didn't appreciate. What they came up with, they said government is too large. We're going to downsize. They downsized all the people. Those people became hungry people. homes were deprived of income. Fathers, you understand, became frustrated. Children could not go to school because the parents lost jobs. And then they began to right size, they began to upsize, and they came up, you understand, with what they have stated was large. But when President Weah took over, I will admit there were many influences on him. We have, you understand, to remove a lot of people because they are opposition. But you know what he said? He instructed his officials, do not fire anybody. Those people are Liberians. They deserve to work. And so every minister that went in and every director general that went into the places, you know, saying of assignment, they maintained those people. But then what happened? Those that have struggled to bring about the elections, to bring victory, there was no way they could get jobs. So every director, every, you know, saying minister began to find way to, as soon as they begin to bring in those people, Unity Party and the other opposition, what did they come with? They say the government was overlarge. And they were demanding, you understand? They were demanding until the government had to take different. The International Monetary Fund got involved. The World Bank.
You're making reference to the harmonization policy.
Yes. Now the harmonization policy did not start from President Weah. The harmonization policy, you understand, was presented by the IMF to the Unity Party government. But the Unity Party government did not want to honor it because it will mean reducing, you understand, the salaries of key people that they brought in.
To the people that you call elites.
The elites. If you observe the Unity Party government, when they took over, they didn't care about those that graduated from the University of Liberia. All of the ministers, they brought them from abroad. And the president said, the president of Unity of the government at the Unity Party, you know, Ali Johnson said, of which Joe Barker was key. They said these people, they made sacrifices to leave where the Google job to come. A minister was making, one minister would be making, you know, 5,000, another making, you know, saying 7,000, another making, you know, saying 20,000, you know, and so forth. A secretary, you know, said would be making, you know, almost about that which a director should make, and the whole arrangement was so scattered that even Jonathan's, you understand, favored by ministers, they were making more, you understand, than certain directors. Secretaries were making more, you understand, than all of secretaries. The entire thing was disarranged. That is the Unity Party government. Disarranged. And of course, the people of this country respect the Unity Party government because of the kind of intellectuals, the kind of educated people, the kind of advocacy that they led in the past that led, you understand, to the war. So it was a huge disappointment. You know, and of course, Joe himself admitted it. The kind of opportunity that came. What did Joe say? Joe admitted. I'm talking about the former vice president. He said we had the opportunities, but we squander all of the opportunities. So now tell me, these people, do they deserve another chance? When they talk about rescue, I will let you know that politicians in politics, there are languages you must understand. There's a language for the politician himself. There is a language for the citizens. But the message is the same, but the interpretation is different. When they say that the people are suffering, there's hard time, they are not talking about the people. They are talking about themselves.
Indirectly?
Indirectly.
Do they tell you that they suffer?
Oh man, I've been in this thing here for a long time. You know what I'm saying? I am an experienced propagandist. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, but the people that who are pushing this rescue message, these are people who are working. Some are senators.
Let me tell you something. I want to be very frank with you. In every political space, there is a divide. There are people that feel insecure when the other side wins. And when you find them so vocal, they're being vocal because they are insecure. They don't know what is going to happen. Change is something also that frightens people. Yeah.
So, Mr. Nair, we in the almost, we in the middle of this campaign. Your party, like other constituent parties, the NPP and the Congress, all of you are in this campaign mode. What is it that you're reading from the minds of the Liberian people? Are they buying into your argument? I know you say, okay, the argument is backed by visible, tangible developments in your words, but what are you reading?
I will be very frank with you, Vavin. We are feeling victory. You are feeling victory. We are feeling victory. We are seeing what the people are saying. Now, you will not want, like people say, that it becomes repetition when you talk about what you do. But what is campaign all about? It is about telling the people what you have done.
Of course, especially an incumbent.
Yeah.
You campaign on your record.
Yes.
So what is the record saying?
Now look at it. There is something, a development that has been trivialized.
By whom?
By the opposition.
Notably who?
Both, all of them.
But all of the argument
notably Joe Biden.
But this is my point. This is the point. Because all of the argument that you push here, Unity Party has been in the center.
No, because I know them very well. I know the politics. I understand the politics. Unity politics, you know, from 1985. You know, there were two, LAP and Unity Party were the leading.
Yeah, Liberal Action Party.
Action. But now they have become one.
Yeah.
The mentality is still one.
Right.
The strategy is still the same. When elections is coming, complain that there will be Ricky. So that if
was this the
of course
2017 was this the argument?
No, I've gone way back to 1985. You know what I'm saying? I'm going way back to 1985. Complain that there will be Ricky. So that when you lose the election, you will complain it on Ricky and begin, you know, say problems. That was Unity Party. That was, you know, saying the LAP. They have become one with one solid mind. Now,
so the politics has changed, but the party has not changed.
The party has not changed. The methodology has not changed. You know what I'm saying? Now, what they did? Watch history, walk with history. When they failed, I remember when George Shultz came, when they came into the country to investigate the claims. Unity Party said that they won by the Thunderbolt. LAP said they won by earthquake. You know, saying police said they won by hurricane. All that they were given all kinds, you know, saying all adjectives. Secretary of State George Shultz called him to the embassy called each of the parties A. Each of the party claimed victory. So how possible was that? When the international observers, everybody said the election, was won by the NDPL. What Unity Party did, they formed themselves into what they call the Grand Coalition. And for the Grand Coalition, they operated in such a way, blocking international, investments, blocking international support, blackmailing the government all over the world, And after 2017 with George Weah, what happened? This very same group, they came up with the CPP. And what did they do? What did they do? They made sure that they made the country ungovernable. Every one of us.
How?
Every day. First, it started on the issue of lies, about 16 billion.
Okay.
The entire country, all international community, everybody, became concerned until international community involvement came into the process. All right. From there, they started, the campaign for the government to step down, made the country ungovernable. They were out in the international community.
To say they made the country ungovernable is to say that their so-called lies, it was bought.
No, listen. Yes, largely, it was bought because, firstly, in cases like this, the media did not know who to call. When you talk about 60 billion, you talk about the central bank. The very first thing you say how you would approach it. You don't call politicians. You call experts. You call the central bank. You call economists. But what will happen? Those that appear were politicians. They magnify. Now, when it came to the end, to the results, when their own people were arrested, they began to sing a different tune.
But there are people who still believe that 16 billion got missing, and this is where the truth was not still magnified as the lie.
The fact is that there are people who refuse to believe truth. Truth goes sinking to people. I am the truth. But they rather believe what they want to believe because of their own personal aggrandizement. But let's put that one. That is not that's past.
It's past.
What I'm saying here is that the opposition see visible development. I will single out the standard bearer of Unity Party. He left rehabilitation role. In 12 years.
He seems to be a mean contender to you.
In 12 years.
Because the fact that you continue to reference it.
No.
Why are you not calling Mr. Kumis?
I will get to Mr. Kumis. Now listen to what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The opposition Boykai, Honorable Boykai, he left rehab. All around rehab, there were so muddy roads in the masses area. 12 years, nothing was done about it. And he was there. Okay. Now, President Weah came in, go down to rehab. Everywhere he drives is paved. But he will get up and say, nothing has been done. This government has failed miserably. Nothing has been done. I will let you know one thing.
You think that's being hypocritical?
It is not being truthful. It is deceptive. And a politician An opposition don't have to lie about things in order to gain, the people, the people confidence.
Mhm.
As an opposition, be realistic, because you have thinking citizens. You have thinking citizens. You cannot just look at somebody who have seen development and say, there's nothing.
Do you think they are underestimating the intelligence of the public, the Liberian people?
I think they do. They do. What they say in the language, in a political language, those people are gullible. Whatever we tell them will go. And Liberia itself has, except that this period, there seems to be the change, gradual change. Liberians have a kind of attitude. They are always opposition friendly and not government friendly. So a government can be popular. When the government comes in, you find
that's the psychology of the Liberian people. Okay, now you want to weigh in on within the Unity Party, their marriage with the MDR and the MDR's funder and vision bearer, Senator Prince Johnson.
I would say,
it's a self-destruct button.
I would say
that they are pressing.
I would say to you that Ambassador Boyka had an enormous opportunity to prove to the Liberian people that he can make the right kinds of decisions. You remember, it was Ambassador Boyka, Comes, and the rest.
Mm-hmm.
They were pressing on this government for War Crimes Court because of Prince Johnson's involvement, with the CDC. They went and organized, held meetings with Alan White. They went to Congress. They lobbied to Congress, with Congress, to ensure war crimes. That even got, Prince Johnson himself victimized and became sanctioned. Because they felt Prince Johnson being on the side of the CDC would definitely win this coming elections. But what happened? When Prince Johnson switched, they all began to run to Prince Johnson. I remember I went to visit Prince Johnson one morning. And I saw
does he take pride in that?
He believed himself to be, the king's maker. But the fact is that the UP had the opportunity to say, this is the man we have impressed upon Liberian, that he's a war criminal.
What do you foresee?
You understand? But now, do you hear them talking about war crimes? Recently, Senator Johnson came out with threatening, statement that if the election is rigged, a revolution will take place. He will go in the bush. At this juncture of time, at this critical time, one that you have embraced as a partner, one whose candidate you have accepted, as the vice president, coming up to threaten the peace and stability of this country, to reflect Liberians back, to the terrible years of the past, will make such a statement, and UP has not even condemned it yet. The opposition have not condemned yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeke came up and said the same thing. They didn't condemn, but just a little thing that about the CDC will be magnified. Now, this is not being honest with the people of this country. This is not being honest, with politics. And I think they are on the wrong trajectory. The ambassador came up and said, if he becomes president, the government is like you, a sack lot of people, civil service servants. Now, this is the man that is soliciting and talking about difficult times, but yet seeking to repeat that which they did, downsizing, and taking civil servants for other jobs. Now, how does he think the civil servants would think? And the civil servant that will have the audacity to vote UP is a civil servant that wants to take bread from his or her mouth. So you have to be very careful the statement you make.
Okay. Now, before we take calls, I mean, if you just joined us, you're listening to the Bumper Show on ELBC Radio. My name is Vafle Kamara, and I'm speaking with the national chairman of the Liberia People Democratic Party, a constituent party of the CDC, D1. What do you say when people say that, President Weah will be re-elected based on his records?
I would say that's true. You know why? I'm very proud of what he has done. I saw, as a little boy, the part of the Tottenham administration. I saw clearly the Talbot administration. I saw the Doe administration, and other administration. Come. President Weah believes in the whole. He's not sectionalistic if it comes to development. President Weah believes in decentralizing opportunities. The reason why the concentration has been on roads infrastructure. People say, oh, they're just talking about road. If you do not go closer, to President Weah, you will never experience, his intelligence. You will only be stating that he was a professional football player. But here is a man. He asked himself several questions. Why are there no development in the rural counties? Why are there no development in some of the areas, even very close to this capital, the center of the capital? One, he discovered something. In order to have economic expansion, you must have roads infrastructure. E.J. Roy realized that 1870. He said, all these things that we are doing, they're for nothing. Once we do not assimilate, the indigenes and make them part of Liberia, once we do not expand the economy, by breaking through the 500 miles radius set, once we do not begin to utilize, the great opportunity in rural areas, we will not make it as a country. So what he did, he brought about the assimilation. Absorb. He called it absorption policy, to absorb, the indigenes. And he's called an open door policy to pass the 500 miles radius set by J.J. Roberts, that no investor can go across that 500 miles radius. He decided to break that. But the conservatives, they wouldn't allow that. Absorption, no. Expanding the economy into the rural parts where the Aborigines will come into contact, with the different investors. They didn't want that. They came against him. even the Speaker, Anderson, who was involved in the negotiation, Anderson was released, but Ijebor was held.
Back to President Weah.
Now, President Weah, look at the economy. How do I get the economy into the rural parts?
Mm-hmm.
The recipe is road infrastructure. So his first agenda in the first term was road infrastructure. The second agenda in the next 6 years is prosperity. What he tends to do, he's trying to move Liberia from poverty, from the rich and the poor, of creating a middle income.
Mm-hmm.
You understand?
Closing the disparity.
Yes. So that there will be three classes. There is no middle class. This agenda for his next term is built on prosperity.
Okay.
And so, Liberians, all the things that people talk about hard time, not one of them can eradicate hard time. They only playing, on the mentality. They're playing, on the gullibility of the citizens. But guess what? If you go to 7, they will tell you, hey, you don't want we are, you're getting to us. You go to Ghana, they will tell you, if you don't want we are, you're getting to us. Because they have seen the difference that have been made. But we do not appreciate what we have.
Okay. Well, you're listening to the Bumper Show. Diwane is the national chairman of the Liberia People Democratic Party, a part of the CDC, the coalition. He's my guest, and you're listening to the Bumper Show. My name is Vafli Kamara. Call us on 080-514-096, 080-514-096, and share your thoughts with us. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Vafli.
Yes.
And good afternoon to the chairman in studio. My name is Mark Joko, and I call from the office of the Coalition of Democratic Change here in Congo Town. Well, let me appreciate the chairman for the excellent presentation. He said it, and he was very passionate and eloquent. The reason why the people in opposition will preach that President Weah should not be re-elected, like the chairperson said, because they want to come back to power and loot this country resources, like what they did. Noka was being robbed under their regime, and Manaseli took responsibility only because it was a song. That's nepotism.
Okay.
So you want to give this country back to the United Party? You see the vivid development President Weah is carrying on.
Okay,
development of roads, development of schools. You want to compare that with the United Party? We say this and we'll ask here and feel that President Weah will be re-elected on the first ballot.
Thank you. Let's hear from this person. Good morning. Sorry.
Hello, how you doing?
Good afternoon. This is the Super Morning Show. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the conversation. I am Archie Newton from District 17, a member of the coalition. I want to say thanks to the PAP, he set it up. See, Liberians, as the PAP said, because of our gullibility, that is why people of all kinds of the United Party will have the audacity to even talk about corruption. When during the times we get kicked from war, opportunities were here. They were paying people 25 to 30,000, 15,000, 17,000. They scorn off the opportunity. Today they got the ball to talk about corruption. Are you kidding me? Then our people talking about the hard time. We agree. You say hard time is here, but check all the country in there. Check all the country, you see what's going on. But we're talking about process in the world, President Weah is persevering, doing development. And we're going to say Ghana is fine, the other country is fine. President Weah is building roads, building Google recreation centers. While our children do the team themselves, then they're talking about hard time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's hold you there. Good afternoon.
Thank you so
Good
much.
afternoon. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, this is Abednego Newton. I'm calling for Sophie. Look, if you look at the oppositions, the way they are spreading the information to tell you that they are prepared. And these are people that were veneer to the presidency. To tell you, political children of CDC. So,
Oh, Newton, your line is
sure.
Yeah.
We just sure that CDC of the one round victory. We are prepared. We are not deterred. So they will not move around. We are equal at this present.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Hello. Hello. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Hello.
Good afternoon, family.
Yes.
Yeah, my name is Michelle from Gary, and I call for my rehab resident. Let me say a big thanks to your fear guest and for his liberation. And like he put it rather, he couldn't have put it in a better. The president's speech was very excellent. And one thing I spoke on last speech is not just but because of time. More especially when it comes to peace. He already carried the measure of peace. And we have other people from the other staff who is speaking the measure of violence, who's talking about bringing war. But this time around, we're not hear the sound of guns. Because you don't try to bring in front of our country, we certainly have the right to protest to a peaceful and stand up and see what the embassy can do to put stop to it. And thank you so much for having me on the line.
Thank you. Thank you. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, my brother.
Hello. What's your name? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, listen to the studio guys there. My brother, nobody, people already put around you. Never see somebody knee that pull that. They make it for 40. Nobody can get hard time. Nobody can get rid of hard time. So they need to start in the past and over for you. I think that's the right get poverty from grandpa for the whole country. It's hard time. Nobody.
Okay.
So they are joking.
Okay.
We are with that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We can take one more call, then we'll go back to Mr. Nair. Good afternoon. Hello. Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Hello. What's your name? We can take this call. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. What's your name?
My name is Jonathan. I call from.
You call from?
Yes.
Go ahead.
You know, for me, yes, that the 1985 election was not the Liberal Action Party lot of Johnson do at the time. It is personally, it's my book. Small book. Election we took part and we saw. That wasn't true. The election was rigged.
Okay, so you disagree with him, right?
It's not true. And the next thing I want to make is that not that I agree with the chief of staff, Prince C. Johnson, who said people were calling on him to overthrow this government. Where was he? Where were the people who are making the loudest of the noise now of what Prince Johnson said about the chief of staff say? What did they say about him?
Okay. Let's hold you there. Yeah, so you listen to the concerns. I mean, you have one disagreement, and all that. But before you go, I will just ask you one more question, Chairman. If your listener bearer, I mean, if Dr. Cassell was alive, where would he would have gone?
I don't represent his party. I represent the LPDP.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
But his party is with us.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's true.
I wouldn't want to answer for the man that is in the grave. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know what his thoughts would have been.
Okay.
You know, but calculatively, you know what I'm saying? He would have made the right decisions. You know.
Okay. Yeah. So
okay. I would like to thank all of the callers for responding to me. Usually, I am not on radio. I don't come on radio because I come from a different school of politics. I study what I say before I say them. One thing you should know about the Unity Party.
Mm-hmm.
And they laugh because now they have become one.
Mm-hmm.
They are people, they are political parties that are so egocentric. They believe it is either them or no one else. They don't believe in losing. They are very bad losers. Once they lose, they begin to create opportunities for conflict. My experience as when I was youth leader of the LPDP, as we go about running campaign, we divide t-shirts. People receive t-shirts. You think that this person is part of you, but the person could be part of, another political party.
Mm-hmm.
They came up with a scheme. They are always scheming. They came up with a scheme to make Doe unpopular. And they chose a man, the late Dr. Sawyer. It was well planned. I will wrap up.
Yeah, please, because
it was well planned. The paraphernalia, the t-shirts, of LPDP went up to Dr. Sawyer's place to burn the place, and then later on they accused. It had been the philosophy, the operation. Everything you see they do, they calculate it.
Mm.
So Liberians, be very careful. These are the people that brought about the 14 years war. Be very careful with that. And now they are beating war drums. They are singing the same songs of war. Be very careful. Vote massively for President Weah. And we, LPDP, will be in district number 12 on Saturday. Follow us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well, he's the national chairman of the Liberia People Democratic Party, Diwane, the LPDP, a constituent party of the Coalition for Democratic Change. He's been my guest on this edition of the Bumper Show. My name is Vafle Kamara, and coming up next,